Hello, everyone, and welcome to Kryptonite. So let's dive in.
If you haven't already, please subscribe to our channel, and if you like the video at the end, click on the thumbs up.
Hello, and welcome to Kryptonite, the crypto investor channel. I'm Boris. So let's dive into borrowing money and leverage. So we're looking at what you can do, with leverage and borrowing money. Now, I want to warn you that these practices are risky. So if you are a beginner, it might not be a great idea to actually borrow money or to use leverage. Definitely leverage is even more dangerous than borrowing. The main reason is that whenever you leverage, if you leverage really high, like let's say you leverage 10x, 20, 30x or 100x, if the price moves even just a little bit, you could be liquidated, meaning that the exchange that you use to do the leverage is going to actually sell your assets to get their money back. And they're going to do that very early on because you can be easily wiped out very quickly, especially if there is a big drop on the market. So Celsius is a great place to borrow money if you want to do that. Now, there's a few guidelines you probably want to be aware of. If, let's say, you're playing with $100,000, you could say, okay, maybe I can risk 5% that I'm going to borrow, or maybe as much as 10%. I would not ever play with more than like 10% on borrowed money. So at least if the market goes down, you're still okay. You didn't take that gigantic of a risk by borrowing 5% of your assets. So if you had, let's say, like I said, $100,000 and you borrowed, let's say, 10%, that would be $10,000. And here we can see that when you borrow $10,000, they're going to ask you a collateral of about a little bit over half of a Bitcoin. Now, the cool thing is you can use other monies with Celsius. You don't have to use necessarily Bitcoins. Could be Ethereum, could be Link, could be Matic. I mean, they have a long list of coins that you can actually use to borrow that money. And the cool thing is they're going to say, okay, if you cover 25%, we're going to give you 1% interest rate. If it is 33%, meaning that, of course, you see the number goes down. Now we're going to loan you the money, but at 7%. So, and if you borrow 50%, meaning it's only half the value of what you're borrowing, they're going to give you 8.95. The more collateral you give them, the higher the collateral, the better the rate. So usually that's probably what you want to do, is so that you can borrow at a very low price. Because if you borrow this over a 1 year, your monthly interest is only going to be $8.33 per month. That equates to about $100 a year in interests that you are going to pay to borrow $10,000. If you were to do those different numbers, let's say where you only do 50, now, yes, they only ask for half a Bitcoin, but now you're going to pay $74.58. So you're going to pay almost $900 a year, basically 9 times more than what you would if you were doing it with a collateral of only 25%. The minimum term they have is 6 months. So you can do 1 year, 6 months. The minimum is 6 months. If you try to reimburse before, they will charge you. Basically the 6 month. You can choose 1 year. You can choose, year and a half, etc. So the cool thing is once you have passed the 6 month with Celsius, you can reimburse pretty much at any time. The last thing to know about borrowing is if the market really tanks, if it goes down a little bit, you have some room, and Celsius really try to avoid for their clients to be liquidated, meaning that they would have to sell that 0.64 Bitcoin to get the money back from the loan. So the cool thing about Celsius, they give you some room. So if, let's say, Bitcoin was to drop 10 or 20%, they would not liquidate you, because sometimes the market can correct a little bit, and it may lose 10, 20% fairly quickly. So they would not liquidate you. If it drops too much, at some point they're going to ask you to either put in more money, or they're going to have to sell the asset that you put as collateral. But you do keep, the $10,000 that you have borrowed. So in a way, that's where it's a lot less risky than if you're doing leverage. So that's for the part of borrowing money, which once again, remember the rule, don't go overboard. Borrow 5%. 5% is definitely a reasonable number. 10% might be kind of the max. If you go beyond that, you're starting to enter very risky territories. Now, leverage, first of all, I would say that leverage is really reserved for experts, people that really know what they're doing. Now, I know it might be tempting. You hear a friend that tells you like, oh yeah, I did a 10x leverage and I made so much money, so of course it's tempting to say, well, I'm going to do the same thing and I'm going to make a lot of money. So basically here they give the example that if you do a 10x, if you put $100, it's like you're trading $1,000. It's the same thing than if you had $1,000 to invest. Now, the danger is that if this drops just a little bit, if it drops by 10%, that also means it's amplified 10 times. So obviously you could be wiped out in no time. The experts that usually do that, they do it. So you have Binance Futures, Bybit does it as well. So all those things to trade at really high level, it's dangerous, and I really recommend you don't ever do it. The few people that make money, and I see experts from time to time that do it, and even they make a mistake because they just enter at the wrong time. It's so hard to time the market. They enter at the wrong time and they actually end up losing all their money, because the problem of leverage is that if they have to sell the position to make, to pay for the money that you borrowed, that $100 is gone, completely gone. So you put in, like they said, $100 at first. It's exactly like if you had invested 1,000, but unfortunately for you, it went down. And since it is amplified by the leverage, that $100 is completely wiped out. Now, this is a small example, but let's imagine you put $10,000 at 10x. It's like playing with $100,000. That $10,000 would be gone if they have to liquidate you. So extremely dangerous. Of course, it is very, very tempting, because you can say, well, I don't have a whole lot of money. I may have only $1,000 to play with, or only have $5,000 to play with. And obviously, if you multiply that money by 10 or 20, suddenly gives you a better opportunity to go up. But don't forget that market can correct at any time. And if you just entered at the wrong time, you will be liquidated. And this is also the reason why sometimes we see the price of Bitcoin tank very rapidly, because it starts dropping and it loses about 5%. But because people start being liquidated, the problem is it amplifies the whole process. So suddenly we see Bitcoin dropping 10%, 15% in one single day, because a lot of people get liquidated. So be extremely, extremely careful. And personally, I don't recommend people actually do any leverage whatsoever, because even experts make mistakes. I hope you enjoyed the video. I'll see you the next time on Crypto. I hope this video helps. Thank you for watching. Have a good day.
If you haven't already, please subscribe to our channel. And if you like the video at the end, click on the thumbs up.